Aye, it's the second Double Dragon game, is this? Surprisingly enough. Now, we'd seen the first Double Dragon game, aka Double Dragon, briefly in the 0282 area, but once local lips had started flapping regarding the old elbow your way right through to end on a single 10p, then Taxi Ranks and Co got wise to the game, and off she went. I think longest it lasted were at that long paper shop next to Goodwill Taxis near Coach and Horses Boozer. I say long, because it were only a narrow shop front, but it went back, way back, to a trio of arcade cabinets on right that saw all manner of boss machines down years. Double Dragon 2 though, I can't remember us ever getting. And though it sets out its stall in similar graphical fash, certainly ramps up the old Ultra VAR good style, filling yon last full of lead, thus seemingly duping you out of the boss ending waiting for you at the end of chapter 1, once you and a pal had elbowed your way through. So far, so far. And there's a bit of a familiar air for local heads to this first level already. Is anyone either brave or daft enough to wander along Elm Street after dark back yon will undoubtedly recall, when one could not mind, enjoy a moonlit stroll for more than a block or two, without a serious selection of white-vested chaps coming on approach-wise, cartwheeling about all fancy crazy for no good reason other than a good loin-lamping sesh of lads, eh? Little bloody murder it were. And as for that set of eye-patch sporting pillar-box peep suit muddy funsters who used to mix it outside of helicopter showrooms down bottom of Old Hall Street, well, this really brings it all back. Right, blinking back it does. It's more at same is what this is, which is least you can expect from any sequel, isn't it? Possibly at most. Looking round at some cash cows looking to milk the good grace of anyone fished in who dug the first. For flip's sake, they could have fattled the infamous slowdown of Double Dragon 1 by the time this sequel come round, oi? Clearly bigger fish to fry, man. Now then, D Block, this is called. D Block, I said. Certainly not to be confused with that there Deb Lock, where, I don't know, debonair debutantes ferociously fiddled themselves out of stir. 'Cause that were hard work, wasn't it? No. D Block, on the NES Nintendo no less, back in 1991, or rather the Japanese equivalent Famicom, as I'm fairly sure this never saw legit release over here, or in States even, I don't think, which is a shame, as far as these things can be considered as such in big scheme of things, cause it takes the well-treaded Tetris template and puts one of them there new spins on it, which works really well once you get the hang of what's what. Don't do that much, but what it does really well. And what it doesn't do, ain't none of your business really. Dig it out from wherever you dig these things out from, and you'll not just have the one do, I'll tell you that. In the right pair, make that the wrong pair of hands, I could see this keeping you at it till well after bedtime, chasing that just one more quick do, Dragon, that has seen so many of us get a right rollicking down years as we continue to kid ourselves that we actually mean it. I like this, man. Just keep one eye on clock and save yourself a big bag of ag. Which fetches us right round to this here rarely encountered arcade doozy, Darmadooju, doesn't it? Is that how you say it? Darmadooju? It's going to have to suffice, innit? Because if you've got yourself hooked, lying and sinkered on some obscure Famicom spin on Tetris, surely the best way to kick that block-based habit is another, less apparent at first glance perhaps, yet still of the same addictive oeuvre. Oeuvre? Yes. And it almost goes without saying, ideally one that features a grumpy looking skin-headed dude rocking heely eyebrows, who spends his time floating up and down on a cloud, giving colourful blocks and little sarky sipping hedgehogs what for with a massive mallet, in order to prevent a grinning crab from scaling an adjacent wall, thus causing crafty crustacean hefty harm. Well, it's funny how fate can be, aye. It's bleeding typical, isn't it? I'll give you that. Yeah, it's one of them that drags you right in, this, as it starts off simple, but gets all fiendish and whatnot within a round or two. But it's another one of them where you can see where you're going wrong most of the time. You just don't have enough about you to do something about it. A lot like real life, in many ways, really. Diddy Kong Racing to square us then this time, aye? Hot on the wheels, not heels, get it? Wheels, I said, hot on the wheels of what were the second game in the huge, to this day, Mario Kart franchise. On Nintendo 64 came this, which I remember a few joy-weary cynics at time saw as naught more than a cutesy cash-in, but it proved itself to be a cracking little game in its own right. And I was surprised more amp followed in its wake. Aside from well worth a deck, kind of, I don't know, remastered version or whatever they call them, that cropped up on Nintendo DS sometime later. There's a few heads out there who reckon this beats Mario Kart 64 hands down. And while I'm not one of them, it still handles well enough for a racer with more than a few years on clock. And one thing it undoubtedly has over its more popular mustachioed cousin is that it thought to deliver on the one obvious thing Mario Kart always lacked. Mainly a boss elephant riding a magic carpet and handing out magic eggs to the winner. Something everyone could agree on with that. And which, as history now unrefutably has it, led to rally legend Colin McRae insisting that said wacky prize-giving ceremony be surreptitiously included as a hidden extra in his successful series of driving simulators that started life on PS1 back yon. Did it actually appear though? Well, woe betide any angelic upstart games developer who would refuse Colin McRae anything of that nature, let me tell you. But I honestly can't say for sure myself. I mean, what am I? His bloody biographer or something?